They laughed at me before I even opened my mouth. Not a quiet chuckle, not the awkward kind people use when they're uncomfortable, but real laughter, sharp and confident, the kind that says they're absolutely sure they're better than you. I was standing in the far corner of a luxury dealership parking lot, the kind of place where the cars cost more than most people's houses, and to them, I was just another piece of background noise. Dirty jacket, worn boots, hands rough from years the world didn't bother asking about. I'd learned to live with being invisible. What I wasn't prepared for was being used as entertainment. The man leading the show that day was named Clayton Reed, CEO type. Perfect smile, tailored suit voice trained to sound important. He had a crowd around him. Investors, clients, sales managers all dressed like success was something you could buy off a rack. His pride that afternoon was a midnight blue supercar parked right in front of the glass entrance hood, open smoke curling out like a bad omen. Mechanics were panicking. Phones were out. You could feel money sweating in the air. And then Reed saw me. "Hey," he said loud enough for everyone to hear, pointing straight at me. "You think you can fix this thing, street guy?" The laughter exploded. Someone clapped. Someone filmed. I stayed quiet because that's what you do when the world has taught you that speaking usually makes things worse. But I was listening. Not to them. To the car. I took a step forward, slow, calm, heart steady in a way that surprised even me. "Give me 1 minute," I said. "I can fix it." You know that moment when sound just drops out of the room like someone pulled a plug? That's what happened. Clayton stared at me like I just insulted his entire bloodline. His face tightened, eyes burning. A homeless man challenging him in front of people who wrote checks bigger than my entire life. He snapped back fast, called me crazy, called security, called me every name he thought fit someone like me. The crowd ate it up. That part hurt more than the insults, honestly, seeing how easy it was for them to enjoy tearing someone down. But there was more on the line than my pride. The owner of that car, a tech executive named Evan Blake, was pacing like a man watching his future collapse. This wasn't just a car, it was a statement, a meeting, a promise, and it was dead. The head mechanic had already declared it finished. Engine failure, total loss, tow it away. I saw Evan's jaw tighten when he heard that. $5 million in deals about to evaporate. And suddenly, all eyes were back on me. Clayton laughed again louder, desperate now. "Fine," he said. "Touch the car, and when you make it worse, I'll have you arrested." Vandalism. Theft. You'll disappear. He thought fear would shut me up. He didn't realize I'd already lived with worse. "And if I fix it," I asked. More laughter. Someone whistled. Clayton spread his arms like a game show host. "If you fix it, I'll fund whatever fantasy you're chasing. Rehab training, whatever gets you off my pavement." Evan stepped forward then. Quiet. Focused. "If he fixes it," he said, "I'll honor every deal I came here to make. If he fails, I walk and I tell everyone exactly what kind of place this is." That shut Clayton up real fast. Suddenly, it wasn't a joke anymore. It was a gamble. Before anyone could stop it, an older man walked out from the service bay. Gray hair, oil-stained hands, the kind of calm that only comes from decades of real work. His name was Marco Alvarez, legendary mechanic, the kind people whispered about. He took one look at me, then at the car, then at Clayton. "I'll supervise," he said. 60 seconds. I opened my cart. That's when the murmuring started. Because buried under bags and rags were tools. Old, yes, but cared for. Precision instruments, a stethoscope, a mirror, wrenches worn smooth by hands that knew exactly how much pressure was enough. These weren't props. They were memories. Marco nodded. "Whenever you're ready." I didn't rush. First thing I did was listen. Literally. I placed the stethoscope against the engine block, not caring that the engine was dead. Machines leave signatures when they fail. Patterns. You just have to know how to hear them. I moved from cylinder to cylinder, tapping lightly, feeling the difference. The crowd didn't understand what they were seeing. Clayton scoffed. But Marco leaned closer. "Timing chain didn't snap," I said calmly. "It jumped. 2 teeth. caused by oil pressure mismatch. The head mechanic shook his head. Impossible. It's not, I replied. Wrong filter. Bypass pressure too high. Tensioner couldn't compensate. I used the mirror to show them the tensioner fully extended chain still loose. Marco's eyes widened. Evan stopped breathing. 40 seconds left. I reached for a small access port most people never notice. Emergency timing reset, I explained. Built in. Dealers don't advertise it. I adjusted it precisely. Not guessing. Knowing. Clayton's face went white. Even if you reset it, the valves hit the piston, someone argued. Only if it happened under load, I said. This was deceleration, minimal contact. I turned the key. The engine came to life like it had been waiting for permission. Smooth, powerful, perfect. The sound filled the lot, deep and clean, cutting through the silence like thunder. Marco laughed softly, almost in disbelief. Evan just stood there, mouth open. Nobody laughed anymore. Clayton looked smaller than I'd ever seen a man look. Like the ground had shifted and left him exposed. Marco shut off the engine and turned to the crowd. That, he said, was master-level diagnostics. Offers came fast. Real ones. Jobs, salaries, benefits, stability. Evan wanted me exclusively. Marco wanted me teaching. I chose the place where I could help others learn, because knowledge doesn't mean much if you hoard it. Clayton didn't get fired that day. He got demoted. Publicly. His shortcuts exposed. His words recorded. His reputation unraveling in real time as videos spread. The man who called me trash now had to ask for my help. A year later, I run a training shop. We take people no one else looks at and teach them skills that change lives. Clayton is one of the students. Quiet, humble, learning. So here's the thing I want you to think about. How many times have you decided someone's worth in the first 5 seconds of seeing them? How many voices have you ignored because they didn't sound like you expected? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Argue if you want. Agree if you can. Just don't pretend this kind of thing doesn't happen, because sometimes the person you step over is the only one who actually knows how to fix what's broken.